Exciting times. It is time for Meet the Movers, and this morning our mover is none other than George Munengwa, also known as George Billionaire Munengwa. He's the CEO and founder of Proverb Investments. He's also the founder and managing director of Pro Air Zimbabwe, and he's just shared with me some exciting news that Pro Air turns 10 tomorrow. So we're certainly going to be talking about that as well. He's a board member of Spidex Media, an entrepreneur, a serial entrepreneur, a distinguished speaker, a business growth consultant, a brand influencer, and a mentor. He's also a family man. He considers himself ambitious, passionate, and a self-motivated entrepreneur whose goal and purpose is to leave a mark of his existence on this earth. George was also one of the top 20 men in business in 2019. Also named the top outstanding young person in Zimbabwe by JCI Zimbabwe. Also named outstanding man in business by the Ruth Passy Foundation in 2019. He also has received Zimbabwe Business Awards, and the Harare province awarded him with 3 Children's Welfare Support Awards under its Corporate Social Responsibility Awards in 2017. Going on with his accolades, received the outstanding entrepreneur leader. You can't believe that this is you, hey? I'm still going. I'm not done.
Yeah.
He was the first runner-up in the Entrepreneur Leader Awards held by Mega Fest in 2016. And he also received a Zimbabwe National Chamber of Commerce Award for the Young Entrepreneur of the Year, second runner-up. In 2016, he was listed as top 100 most powerful leaders under 40. And in 2015, the Institute of Directors named him as Director of the Year. In 2012, he also won a Victor's Award for the upcoming entrepreneur. You can clearly see that this man has had a journey that is peppered with awards and lots of successes. My pleasure to host George Billionaire Munengwa. Good morning, George. How's it going?
I'm good. Thank you so much for having me.
What a pleasure. I'm humbled to be in your presence.
Thank you.
Absolutely. My goodness, your accolades, reading through your profile. Did you stop for a minute and think, oh, okay, they're talking about somebody else. That can't be me.
Oh, wow. It's amazing to see like 10 years on in business to, look back, and some of the things you're mentioning I had actually forgotten about, but it's always good to, to hear that, and, I'm in shock, but it is what it is.
It is what it is, he says. Very humble as well. George, tell us, what is responsible for making you the man that you are today? Take us through your journey. How did all these successes begin?
Oh, wow. Thank you, Capitalk, for having me. Thank you to the listeners who are on board today. I think my journey began at a very young age. I've always wanted to be an entrepreneur. From grade 6, I used to sell freezers. I wanted to be a soccer player. I failed my O-levels dismally. I hustled at Zimex Small. I didn't go to university. But in everything that I did, I always believed that I was great at selling. And I found my greatest passion selling what I do today, which is air conditioning units. So I sold so many things. I sold paint, I sold cars, phones, clothes, so many things. But the greatest satisfaction came from selling air conditioning units. And from that, we began in 2012. I had worked for a previous air conditioning company, but then I decided to go the journey less traveled. And I believed that it would work. And 10 years on, it's amazing with, how you began. All these things amassed in 10 years. And the greatest thing I can say is self-belief is so important. If you believe, you can. There's a quote by Steve Jobs, which says, here's to the crazy ones. See, so the ones who are crazy enough to believe they can are the ones that at the end of the day come up with the results. So you have to believe in yourself in order for you to be the person that God destined you to be.
That's so powerful. That's so powerful. But I want to talk a little bit about what you mentioned, that, you didn't go down you went down the path less traveled. You didn't go down the conventional route. You failed your A-levels. You didn't go to university.
Yeah.
There's so many people stuck on how do you respond to that? Someone is saying to you now, George, I don't want to go to school. Is it really, how much does it account for your success or anyone's success, an entrepreneur's success?
Yeah, I believe the most important thing, school is very important. I had a very good, foundation in schooling, but ultimately it's dependent on what somebody wants and loves to do. You know, there's a saying, you can't force a cow to drink water at the river. But then you can't force a child to do something that they don't want to do. There's some kids who want to be DJs. There's some who want to be soccer stars. There's some who want to be models. Some want to be musicians. So it's good to identify what somebody's passion is. And I think this generation, a lot of parents are pushing their children into what they could have been. And they're forcing their kids that, no, kanapasna chikoro azvibudirire. And, things have changed. My dad worked for the city of Harare for 35 years. And, he excelled in the corporate ladder there. But things have changed from back then. Because you see, in the country we're in, we're empowered to begin our own businesses. A lot of people take it for granted that Zimbabwe is one of the easiest countries to actually start and run a business without having so many, issues and startup capital needed in the bank for you to finance projects. So, it's totally different. So I don't believe that education is mandatorily key in order for somebody to become successful. There's so many people, if you look around at some of the top business people, most of them are not as qualified as you would say they are, or some of them are not qualified in what they are now doing, but they were just passionate and they believed in a business that they're doing today, and that is why they are successful.
You were so diplomatic in answering that question. So it says, no, I'm not saying don't go to school, but focus and passion. The importance of passion, George. How important is passion? And is it really true that, passion, money will follow passion all the time?
Back to your question about school, I'll get back to this. For me, for instance, I didn't go to school, but I had to self-teach myself in the industry that I'm in. So I'm into air conditioning. I have to go to air conditioning expos. I have to know the latest air conditioning trends. So I self-teach myself in the industry that I'm in, which is key. So I'm teaching myself in the things that I love to do. And that's what people should do. Don't force somebody to go. If somebody wants to be a DJ, let them learn more on that. If somebody wants to be a content creator, let them delve more on that. And thank God to, YouTube and all these other platforms where you can learn and absorb so much knowledge, and that's what's leading to a lot of people becoming who they are today. So self-education is key, not forcing people to go through the traditional educational system. And you see, in Zimbabwe since 1980, has our curriculum changed?
No,
not that
it
much.
hasn't.
So
not
you
at
see,
all.
but has technology and the first world countries changed? You
Absolutely.
see, they have. So we've got a little setback in our educational system, and we're still teaching which is why we've got a high unemployment rate. But believe it or not, in all of these young entrepreneurs, in all of these Zimbabwean citizens, they're entrepreneurs in all of them. But vanochka to get out of their comfort zone and begin like what I did, but they can actually do that if they actually, just put their foot forward.
Wonderful stuff.
Yeah.
You're drawing what was that, a locust in 3 parts. I've never had to use that in my adult life, like ever.
Yeah. And you look back and you're like, time wait take
what are we doing? Absolutely.
But all of that, it takes wisdom in our, and it's good the government actually listens to this and actually begins entrepreneurship at Form 1 stage. So it begins to empower children to say that, wait a minute, instead of me thinking I can be an employee, why can't I be an employer? Why can't I start at Form 4? There's an entrepreneurship, subject that helps to empower. And, when entrepreneurs who have started business go to these schools, go to these universities, they'll end up saying, but wait a minute, I want to be like George. He started a business. I don't want to go into employment. And that's how it starts. Yeah.
On that, we often have a very interesting discourse on that, where if the entrepreneurial course is going on, do you believe that only an entrepreneur can teach entrepreneurship? Because that could be another problem where there's a course there, but the person who's teaching the course has never run a business. He or she has zero experience practically being entrepreneurs. What do you think about that?
It's funny you should mention that. I remember back when I was at school, I was in the set 5, which is the last class. Not because I wasn't intelligent, but because I loved sport more. And that class here in the No Hope Squad, we were called the special class kind of people. But it's funny how the people who taught us at school, who were not, established business people, who are teachers, are not very good in business, but they're teaching you business. But trust you me, that's why in this day and age, they're what are called mentors. And you began by reading a lot of accolades that I've got, but I've been surrounded by so many mentors. I wasn't good at business. I didn't know what to do with cash flows. I didn't know how to manage my employees. But I had to have mentors tell me, no, George, I've been doing this for 10 years, and this is how you do this. So when you surround yourself with well-established business people who've been running businesses, you'll learn a lot, and you won't make the mistakes that they did. Because trust you me, once you're an entrepreneur and you get a little bit of money, you're going to want to spoil yourself and do a lot of things.
Yes.
But without guidance, you will definitely go astray.
Absolutely.
So for me, it's important that you learn business. You can't ask a street vendor who's selling newspapers about how to run a business. You need to go to an established business person and ask, so what exactly do I do? And then when you get that advice, you implement it, and guess what? You'll become successful.
I like that. That's the simple recipe to success. How do you pick a mentor? How do you get yourself in that situation? We often talk about, what is it, your 2-minute pitch, your elevator pitch. You should always be talking about what you're doing. How do I connect myself with these people? Maybe I freeze when I'm in the presence of greatness. I freeze when I'm in the presence of the people who've made it before me.
Wow. So for me, I look at characteristic traits. I look at how successful they are, and I want to learn something from them. So, some of the people have asked me, you've got some very controversial mentors because they're not perfect in this aspect and this. But for me, it's not that. I don't judge a book by its cover. I believe there's something to learn from everybody, especially if they have been successful. So if I like the way they address their staff, I'll go in and learn and see how he runs his company with his staff. If I like how he's grown his company in 5-10 years to become international, I'll go and understand, what did you do for you to do this? So, inquisitiveness. In the Bible, there's an amazing verse, Matthew 7, verse 7, says, ask and you shall receive, which is a very basic principle to success. If you go and ask somebody who has made it, and it's amazing how successful people have information, they will tell you. That's the challenge most people do. But if you ask how people made it, what did they do for them to be where they are, you will learn. And I always say this wherever I go, that success leaves clues. But it leaves clues. And that's actually how people will become successful.
I like that. Success leaves clues. And then I've got to ask, what is your definition of success? What is success?
I think success is doing what you love and being happy. That's my basic definition of success. Doing what you love. I love what I do. I love Pro Air Conditioning every single day. I wear it, I dress it. Wherever I go, most people see me. Why every day? But because you know what? I'm so in love with it. I'll wear a blazer, I'll wear a soccer jersey, even my whole family is branded. And that's how much it is that I love this thing. So for me, I can't stop talking about Pro Air Conditioning because they make the weather behave.
Right. If we cut you open, you've got Pro Air on the inside, I imagine.
Yeah, clearly.
And speaking of your social media, I follow you here and there. And I often marvel at that, like how you have your family so integrated into everything that you do. I really quite like the motivation that you do in the car in the morning with your kids.
Yeah.
I find it absolutely amazing.
The school run diaries.
Yes, the school run diaries. I love that. How did you manage to impart that knowledge, even from the youngest all the way up to your oldest, in your family circle?
Wow, so it's amazing how growing up my dad used to take me to school. But unfortunately, kwangu sina video, and my dad, we'd have the best conversations going to school. So I decided to impart that. My dad empowered me in grade 6. He gave me money. And I said, okay, I can't do that now, but what I can do is to train up a child whilst they're young. And I've began giving them nuggets and telling them, success tips. And, I always wake up every morning watching YouTube. It used to just be me with motivational videos. But now when they wake up and they're having breakfast before we go to school, they actually have the word they want to say themselves. So it's amazing how they've, said these things, and it's amazing how they're excelling even in their sport and their school, because they were beginning talking about it, but now they're understanding it and actually becoming it. So because of that, it's empowered them to speak and believe that they can. And if you have any of my kids on radio, you'll be very surprised, without me being there, that they speak exactly like they do when you see them on their videos.
Amazing. That's something that we certainly have to work on, but it is a testament to you and what you are imparting to them. So job well done for that, and it's such an inspiration. I know there are parents listening who are wondering how they can also start to do the same, and I think they'll definitely take a page out of your book, George. We want to talk about something a little grim, but it's the reality of the times that we're living in. The economy is really tough for a lot of people, to the extent that people have resorted to unconventional means of making money. Other people are into the you kill what you eat sort of, syndrome. Yeah. Given this state of affairs, how do you think an entrepreneur can grow his or her business in this economy?
Wow, beautiful question. And it's a pity in this country we don't have focus. And a lot of individuals are unfocused, which is why they're not relevant. I always abbreviate the word focus as follow one course until success. FOCUS. Follow one course until success. So George has been doing air conditioning for the past 10 years. Vanhu vakanzwa zita rekuti George. Vanoti, George, wema aircon. If you hear Philip Mataranyika, there's something you think of. If you hear Strive Masiwa, if you think of Bill Gates, Aliko Dangote, Serena Williams, Cristiano Ronaldo, there's something about them. They focused on that one thing until they succeeded in that thing. So you find today, Benamari, computer, hana one fixed abode, and that's the challenge. So wakazodomu traga wada kutenga computer, unzot no hasisipo, he's somewhere else. So that's the challenge that I think entrepreneurs have. They need to find themselves. What is it people will identify me with? So that's one thing that I think in the country of Zimbabwe, youths and even people in business need to be identified by something that, when somebody hears their name, they'll think of a product or service that person does.
Thoughts on Kungwava?
I don't think it will last long. It happened in 2007-8, and it doesn't last long at all. Quick money has huge problems because you live a fake lifestyle, and then once that season ends, guess what? You're going to be selling most of the things you acquired at no cost, and you're back in a place where once you have to have a formal structure in whatever you're doing, so that at least it can live long. It's just a matter of time. Zimbabwe, I believe, is going to be a great country very soon, and if you're not in a place where you have structure, I can guarantee you're not going to go anywhere.
Oh, wow, that's a little scary for someone listening right now.
The truth is what it is.
Wow. He holds back no punches. He's being brutal. So hold on to something or you're going to get swept away, George says. It leads me into my next question. Financial literacy. It's something that is lacking in many Zimbabweans. Before I even get into the entrepreneurs, in Zimbabweans at large. Why do you think it's important for individuals, first of all, and then businesses, to appreciate financial literacy or to invest in it?
So I think a lot of people don't know. When I started my freezer business in grade 6, I understood kuti ndatenga my freezer at $5 and I need $10. I've made a profit of $5. So instead of me using that profit, why don't I buy 2 packets? So what happens with a lot of people, they don't understand the difference between profit. And once you have a business, you've got operational costs. You've got salaries. You've got fuel expenses, etc., rentals. And a lot of people don't understand that because vangotanga now. But like I said earlier, the greatest advantage I had, I went and I asked. If you don't understand something, go to somebody who knows about it and let them download to you how exactly they can do it. Because I personally am not a person who is well vested in accounting and etc. My strength is more on marketing and interpersonal relationships. But on the account side, I need to get somebody who can do that because I can't be a jack of all trades. So it's important, and they definitely can assist and you'll grow. But challenge, we know it all. And that's the challenge. You won't go far because you think you know it all. And then when you fail, you wonder, why did you fail? Why not learn from others or stand on the shoulders of others? And your success, like you began saying, all those awards are not all testament to me. But there are a lot of people I consulted, who mentored, who advised, who told me what to do and what not to do, which has led to where we are today.
Fantastic. You can't make it on your own. If you're just joining us, this is Meet the Movers, and our mover for this week is none other than George Billionaire Munengwa, talking all about his journey and, of course, some of the essential building blocks that will get you from nowhere to somewhere. And he shared his acronym for what? For focus. What was it again? Please break it down.
Follow one course until success.
Follow one course until success. I like the sound of that. And now I've got to come to your moniker, a billionaire. Are you a billionaire, George?
I'm a billionaire in the making.
Okay.
So, to date, there are, in the whole wide world, there are 2,755 billionaires.
Only?
In the world.
Wow.
Yeah. And I believe one day, you and the whole country of Zimbabwe is going to be very proud of one of their own, George, who would be part of that circle. So there's a saying in the Bible where it says, according to your faith, it shall be done unto you. So a lot of people, when I began, I say, George Billion, you're a billion in my 09. Do you know what you're talking about?
Oh, is it billionaire in Zim dollar terms?
But then people don't understand. We are all made differently, and what makes us and what motivates us is different. So for me, I don't want to be George Millionaire or George Multi-Millionaire. I want right there at the top. I want to be part of that 2,755 people and make not only myself, my country, but when I go to heaven, at least God will be proud. It came to pass, and that's that. Yeah.
Welcoming the billionaires at the pearly gates.
Sure. There's power in what you say.
Absolutely.
There's so much power. So, even when we began Pro Air, I used to say Pro Air is the top leading air conditioning company. And surprisingly enough, 3-4 years down the line, we got awards. So it's amazing, Kuti Vano. Be very careful what you say about yourself, about your business, because a lot of people who know me, George is always positive. You can't, George, in anything he does, he's always motivating. But you know what? I understand that the power of the tongue brings life or death. So whatever comes out of your mouth is either positive or negative. And I've chose to only specifically speak what I want to see in my life. I may not have it now, but trust you me, there's a lot of things I've spoken into existence which are now materialistic and tangible.
Oh my God, amen. Are you a preacher as well?
Amen.
You certainly could be up there. No, definitely. And I'm hearing from everything that you're saying, George, that you're very centered and your foundation seems to be very biblical and scriptural. Tell us the role that your faith plays, or is this the case? Or maybe I'm mistaken. The role that your faith plays in your journey. How important do you think it is to be centered and anchored in a faith or in a belief?
Right. So for me, I think I strongly believe in Christian principles, and you'll see on our clothing, on our business cards, there's a verse, Proverbs 3 verse 5. Mm-hmm. And for me, I encourage everybody to read Proverbs 3 verse 5 to 10, where it goes on to say, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him and he will guide your paths. So for me, I strongly believe that God is responsible. He's the one who gives us the ability to create wealth. And I understand so much that, we are blessed to be a blessing. And at Pro Air, that's one thing that we do a lot. We make sure that with what we have, we also reach out and bless others. Not only that, with what God has done for me, I want to also impart that into young kids, into people, so that they can actually say, "Kana Georgia Rita, it's possible." And my foundation is on our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and He's the one who has given me this ability to be where I am today. So I use every opportunity I get to speak to people and to know and to tell them that without God, I wouldn't be where I am. There's so much I've been through. There's a lot. And if it wasn't for God, it's not people who will lift you up. If God lifts you up, nobody can ever bring you down.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing, George. You're radiating in the studio. Inspirational stuff. And I tell you what, our listeners are also picking up on the same energy. This one, I'm going to read a couple of messages if you allow me. Kudantisipiti says, good morning, Rumbi, to you and to George. And they say, can we get George's contacts? Is he willing to mentor me as well? I'm sure you get a lot of this. I mean,
True.
How do you respond to people like this? And honestly speaking, I mean, are you just gonna say, George is there to help everybody? How do you go about this?
So what I've created, George is available on Facebook, YouTube, and I've put a lot of videos. So I usually tell people, if you want to be mentored, trust you me, there's probably a video I've done which will probably answer you, because I've got 200 plus videos that I've posted over the 10 years on YouTube and my Facebook page, George Billionaire. And I can't mentor everybody. But the most unfortunate thing, and a lot of entrepreneurs in the country say this, mentorship, you'll find most of them just want money. And that's the problem with mentorship. Mentorship is not money. Mentorship is wisdom. It's knowledge. So a lot of people who inbox, George, I need $2,500. I'm like, wow, is this all this person sees? Instead of okay, I've got $500. I want to understand what's the best thing possibly you think I can do. So mentorship, I see Mari, and it's such a huge turnoff to a lot of people when all you see is money. There's more to money, and that thing is called wisdom on what to do. Because wakapiwa mari and you don't know what to do with it, you'll go back to zero, and then you'll go and find another mentor to do the exact same thing. But apana chaur kudzidza. So to that lady who asked, I've got a Facebook page, George Billionaire. Go on that. I've got Instagram, I've got YouTube. Go and watch those videos. And I tell you, there's so many quotes, so many videos, so much to absorb and learn from. Nearly on a daily basis, I try and find time to post something to encourage, to equip, and to provoke people to be what God destined them to be.
I like the sound of that. Hillary in Marlborough also comes through and says, I support the ideas that George is putting out in the studio. He and I have similar minds. Okay.
I like that.
You like the sound of that. See, Africans spend a lot of money paying school fees for their kids in schools overseas, and after they finish schooling, they will come and they start selling bananas in the street. Let's start to use businesses. Let's start businesses for our children.
True.
So that we can export, so that other than exporting money to other countries. You agree with that?
Very true.
Absolutely.
Very true.
All right. This one says, George, lots of clapping hands emojis. I love the definition that you use of wisdom and money. People are very lazy. They don't want information. They just want capital. George is right. And then they also say, George, you've inspired me, because even when I'm going to speak positively, because when I'm broke, I go into shops and do window shopping, saying very soon I'm going to buy this.
Oh, wow.
That's putting it practically, isn't it? Yeah. This one says, thank you so much, sister, for bringing George into the studio. After money, everyone is after money, but the way that businesses should operate, that's what we should be looking for. I will check out his social media handles. All right, okay. Well, there we have it. There's people just sharing and interacting with you, George. I came across a quote that you put out there. You said we should not have microwave solutions to problems, but we need to be patient and look for long-term solutions. As we are coming to the end of this particular interaction, what do you have to say to the entrepreneurs in the making, the entrepreneurs who've been doing it and failing, the people who are trying to discover themselves, who are listening to you right now?
Yeah, I want to say to a lot of people, we've got so many excuses. I lost my parents, I did this and that, I failed dismally. But at the end of the day, it's so important to understand that you need to believe in yourself before anybody else does. Had I not believed in myself, I was called the NHS, the No Hope Squad, the special class guys. People said you wouldn't make it. When I started business, hakuna kambotanga business in your family lineage. Why you think you're going to succeed? Friends will tell you, $300. But trust you me, until you decide to say, okay, I'm going to close and shut out all this clutter, I need to believe that I can do this. And you need to work hard on it. And one of the most important things is association. Who are you hanging around with? You can never be an eagle if you keep hanging around with chickens, because chickens varongojgobora past and they are happy being in a confined place. But eagles can cross borders and fly above the clouds. So if you hang with them, your vision inoto change. You're not exposed. Chickens are not exposed. They only know the yard. But an eagle, it knows a lot more of what's happening. So your association is key. Your self-talk is very important. Speak only what you want to see, even if people think you're crazy. I was told I was crazy. I was told George Billionaire is crazy. But you know what? It's a matter of time and, that you will begin to say, he said this so many years ago. And now look at where he is. So to everybody, believe in yourself. I believe that the only person hindering your success is not anybody else. It's not politics. It's not the government. It's not the exchange rate, but it's you. If you create a solution to any problem that's in the country of Zimbabwe, people will exchange and give you money for that product or service you're doing, and you're going to be doing far better off for your family and your country. So let's not make excuses, and let's get down and do something about it.
Oh, fighting words there, George. Thank you so much. We fast run out of time. We wish we could detain you here all day and just get as much information and knowledge from you. Listeners still coming in and saying powerful message, El Kawa in the CBD. And this one says, George is stimulating my mind. Wow. On the occasion of your 10-year anniversary, we want to congratulate you. Is there anything happening tomorrow to commemorate 10 years?
We've got something lined up to thank especially all the corporates, individuals, and so many people who have supported us and even referred people to us. Without people, no business is complete. And we've learned a lot of lessons from our unhappy customers where we've had to change and adapt certain things. So we have a lot of appreciation to do to so many people. And something's definitely going to happen. 10 years needs to be celebrated, and definitely we will celebrate. Absolutely.
We congratulate you. Here's to 10 more years. Keep on keeping on. You are such an inspiration. We've received all that information. And we definitely would love to continue to interact with you, George. Thank you so much for allowing us into your spectacular billionaire world. And we celebrate you as our mover for this week. Happy 10 years to Pro Air. And here's to 10 more years. Thank you so much, George. Have a great week. Keep winning. And we'll talk to you very soon.
Thank you so much for having me. God bless.
Fantastic. Oh, that was George Munengwa in the studio. He is the founder of Pro Air, and they're celebrating their 10-year anniversary. Hansi ndima listener ndoda kuuya ku anniversary aiwa kusikudiwa wanu. Kurungodiwa vanhu Capitalk chete no. Putting George on the spot there, but it's absolutely great information and great feedback. George, thank you so much. And with that, we are done. The SUC Enterprise has to dock at the station. Unfortunately, we didn't have time. I would have loved to play the 5-second rule game with you, George, but next time. We'll do it next time. We certainly will do it next time. Thank you. Of course. Thank you. Well, thank you so much for being with us from 6 a.m. all the way up to 9 a.m. My time in the studio is done. Many thanks to George once more for inspiring us, and we continue to celebrate him. Thank you to all of you who interacted with us on our WhatsApp platforms, as well as those who called in. It's been a great week for me. Taddy is with you tomorrow between 6 and 9 a.m. Coming up on a Thursday is Leander Candiero, the captain, and he'll be taking you through from 9 to noon on the Capital Crunch. And that's it from me. Remember to have a great week and to listen to that inner voice. You can do great things. Good morning.